What do you think the most important factor in a YouTube video is? Edits? Thumbnail? Well, they are important, but those are more like supporting elements. I believe the most important thing for a YouTube video is the story. Editing and thumbnails work best when there's a good story behind them. In other words, the story is the foundation of a YouTube video, and that also includes Storytime animation. For Storytime animators, stories are much more important compared to other YouTubers, since their main job is telling stories. And in YouTube, a good story does not mean an actual masterpiece, rather it should be interesting and raise questions to the viewers. The best way to make a YouTube suitable story is talking about something that cannot happen to everyone. That is why I think the Storytime animation topics are getting more extreme. The more Storytime animators exist, the more extreme your story has to be to lure the viewers. Or you can just have a really good animation team so that you can stand out, but that is impossible for many small creators. So in this video, we are going to look at some very unique Storytime animations, and I'm going to start with the weakest one up to the most extreme one. Oh, and there might be some stories that I could have missed, so leave a comment if you know any. And while writing the script, most of the unique stories are really dark, so if you have problems with these following topics, I recommend not to watch this video. We'll begin with a relatively normal story. I Got Pregnant by L Cartoons. When pregnancy becomes the subject of a video, it allows viewers to have two thoughts. First is of course congratulations, having a baby can be a wonderful event worth celebrating. And second is, what if it's not intended? In this case, of course, the pregnancy was planned, and if you are a fan of this creator, you probably realize that it's never going to be the second case as soon as you saw the video. But if this is your first video while encountering this creator, which is my case, for a second, because of the shocked face, I thought maybe it was an unexpected pregnancy. But no, it wasn't, and she has a cute child now, so good for her. I think this is a unique type of story compared to, school stories and other common stories. The first one was just a warm-up and probably the only happy ending in this video. Now it's going to be some real unique stories. Creepy Teachers by VelozAni. This is where things get illegal. So in this video, the storyteller VelozAni gets sexually assaulted by his teacher. The teacher was a woman, which is worth mentioning because some people still fail to recognize that men can also be victims of assault. So as the video proceeds, there was this weird teacher just appearing randomly in this video, and she slowly touched VelozAni's back. Not like you did a great job, pat on the back thing, more like I'm interested in you kinda touching. Of course making him very uncomfortable. And she doesn't stop there. The hand goes really low. I don't know where she exactly touched since it got bleeped out in the video, but there isn't a lot of choice to touch on the lower body part, especially if the one touching you is not a close friend. She does that for 20 seconds and leaves, but still 20 seconds is really long. It's really disgusting that a person who is in a higher place, physically or socially, tries to assault a person that is lower than oneself. And the fact that this guy was 15 back then is just so wrong. I know 15 is to some people when you can actually physically win a fight against adults. However, your brain is still growing, so it is very sensitive at that age. Luckily, I think the guy who made this video is okay, since when he talks about the story, he was cool. The video was not that depressing, it was rather fun to watch. He put a lot of memes and good animations in it. But when we just divide the video elements and the story itself is a bit depressing. This video is exactly between depressing crime stories and just crime stories. It is still a fun video to watch. However, the next video is somewhat scary. Maybe more scarier than the previous one. My teacher murdered someone. Alright, first of all, what the actual I don't usually swear in my video, but this title is just so wrong in every single way. She didn't use a word like unalive or something else to avoid YouTube policy, just straight up murdered. The story itself is really short, so the YouTuber Rebecca, the owner of this story, had a really weird teacher in one of her classes. He talked really bad stuff in class and ignored any criticism of himself, didn't have great teaching skills and made many students mad. Rebecca was also not that satisfied with his teaching skills since he just yelled at students, didn't answer any questions about his nonsense. But what made her snap was that one of her assignment was changed to C from B+. So there was this policy that if you get a low grade on an assignment, you can change it and turn it back in for a better grade, and the teacher just straight up lowered the grade. She was so mad that she argued with the teacher for 15 minutes straight, and the teacher started crying, saying maybe he should just give up studying. Now, if he stopped it there, then he might be in one of the Rebecca's worst teacher videos, but he didn't stop. So 2 years later, this guy killed someone while teaching in another university, fled to another state, and killed himself there. Depressing, yeah. I think Rebecca could have been in a dangerous situation if she was just arguing alone, because she mentioned that the teacher tried threatening gestures, but while she was arguing, there was a close friend watching the whole situation. This gives me goosebumps, even though I was not in that situation. This story was so shocking to people that many viewers thought it was clickbait. Maybe they were hoping it was clickbait, but nope, reality is sometimes tragic. In the next story, there weren't people dying, but still, it's really bad. The final story is going to be very depressing. Gosh, I just wanted to talk about the extreme Storytime animation videos, and all of them are just sad. You might know it. Here we go. How I Met My Abusive Ex-Boyfriend by Illymations. This story starts on a very normal day where it seems like nothing's going to be wrong. Illymations was interested in drawing, so she starts drawing on the internet using the site called Art Spots. As you can see, it seems like a furry site, but we are not going deep in that. So in that drawing site, there was a teeny tiny feature called Chatbox. And you know it's really not a good idea to chat with someone online since you can't trust them, but Illymation was 13 back then. I mean, 13 is a very young age to have a standard to judge people. So when there was a guy who said her drawing was nice, there was nothing she could do except talk with him. Of course, if you're an adult, you will instantly be suspicious and block him, but she was a child. She doesn't know anything. So after she starts talking with him, the abuser starts to ask for inappropriate requests. And if she doesn't listen to him, he threatens her by saying that he will freaking kill himself. This is pretty messed up already, but what's coming next is even worse. He forced Illymations to only focus on himself, making her isolated from friends and family. And this action peaked when he forced her to go to the college close to him. So this abuser guy lived in California and Illymation was in North Carolina. Now there's a long distance, you know. So finally they met, after talking for 4 years online. And to be honest, the first day section is really so depressing, shocking that even Illymation didn't exactly explain what happened. So since the owner of the story didn't exactly say what happened on our first date with that freak, I'll skip this part too.
Up there. No, I'd really rather just go back to the hotel. I'll bring you back after. You worry too much. No, I don't want my mom to get mad at me. I really would just rather...
If you're interested, then go watch her video. After that, she finally snapped, saying that he would like to break up with him. Of course, that led to some angry message from the abuser, but she finally cut that cursed relationship with him. Okay, so this story is just so sad and it's really heartbreaking. I cut some really depressing parts, but it's still tragic. And I hope if there's people watching this video, please don't trust people online and especially don't do anything that the other told you to do. It's just really not a good thing to do. Looking back at Storytime animation now, I realized that the genre has expanded far beyond simple school stories, childhood memories, and workplace experiences, because there is almost no limit to what creators can talk about. Some Storytime animation videos now cover subjects that clearly are not intended for children. But I don't think this necessarily means the genre is becoming worse. Storytime animation is probably going through a transitional period. As more creators enter the space, everyone feels pressure to find a story that stands out, and extreme titles naturally receive more attention. Eventually, I think the genre will balance itself out. Not every story needs to involve crime, a tragedy, or a worst experience of someone's life. Sometimes, a normal story told extremely well can be memorable than the wildest title imaginable. So yeah, if you enjoyed, please subscribe and like the video. It will really help my day. Alright, I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.